7 rooms of lonely emptiness. It shows your love and tenderness. After all the love I gave to you, this is what you go and do.
My name is Mike Strickland. I've been a musician since I was about 10 years old, when my mother took me kicking and screaming as a little 10-year-old boy to take organ lessons. I didn't know at the time that it would be one of the joys of my life, and thankfully I did get to tell her that before she passed, that her doing that was one of the greatest joys of my life. Got with the Nurks, and Kerry Jones and I were in an all-boys class at McCants Junior High School when we were in 9th grade. Some discussion came up, I suppose, and he learned that I played the organ, and the Nurks had just kicked out their first organist, and so he said, "Would you like to do it?" I said, "Well, do y'all sing and stuff like that?" And he said, "Well, sure." I said, "Well, okay." And so I really don't know first practice. I don't remember that. But we played at the Chicken Shack from, I'm going to say, 67, 68, 69 every Saturday night, something like that. About 2.5, 3 years, something like that. It was a regular group of folks. A lot of folks from Anderson came up there. It was very popular, well run, well policed by Charlie Stansel. It was a great place for kids to go and have a good time. And we played at socials at St. John's United Methodist Church and Central Presbyterian Church and the YMCA back in the old building when it was down on Greenville Street there after Friday night football games, and then other dances. One thing that I got to do, we played in Franklin County, Georgia, at Franklin County High School in 1966 for their junior-senior prom. And I have an uncle who's just 2 years older than myself, and that was his class, class of 66. And I play with another band now called Those Guys, and those guys played for that Franklin County High School class of 66, their 50-year reunion last year. So I played for their 66 prom and their 50-year reunion.
How cool.
And that was a pretty neat little event there. And just getting together with these guys, we have known each other for over 50 years. And the thing, and Lawrence has mentioned this before, it's the music that bonds us all together. We always look forward to getting together with one another. It's like a band of brothers. And there's other folks that maybe didn't play with the Nurks, but played with other bands, the Visions, and there were several others. And we were friends with them back in the day, and still are friends with them now. Some of us, Lawrence and I, were in first grade together at Concord Elementary School. Here we are. That's been at 10 years, 15 years. Oh, wait a minute. It's a lot longer than that, isn't it? So, yeah, we've been around each other for a long, long time. Then military service got a couple of us that we had to take a sidetrack, and then after that, just careers, family life, and so on and so forth, till we finally linked up with one another 20 years ago, and we started playing together a lot regularly after that.
A couple Saturdays ago was the first time you all had been together as a band. That original 6 or so.
Right, that's right. Yeah.
What was that experience like for you? What did you take away from that?
Well, it was just a special, one of those life's special times that you get to be with people that you were with 50 years ago. Once again, it's the music, that special tie that we have together. Although we've seen each other here and there over the years, but for all 6 of us to be back together and play together, play some of the songs we played back in the day, and then play some new stuff, it was very, very special. Yeah, very special.
But wait just 1 minute, darling. Please stop before it's too late. I tried to talk, but darling, I'm no fool.
I'm Larry Hudson. I was one of the Nurks, and I played bass guitar for them for several years. And the way I got in there was after we heard the Beatles. They kind of inspired a lot of us to get into music. And met one of my friends in school, Pat Wingo. He and I just had to put our guitars together, and so we went over to his house one day and were practicing or just playing around, and decided we'd form a band called Patrick and Lawrence. So we were pretty excited. So I went to school the next day and started talking to the other guys, and I'd forgotten a friend of mine that was in my classes, Greg Cheek, who was in the original Nurks. He said, well, you know, I play drums. Or he said, I have to have a snare drum. Yeah. I said, well, you're in. And then Pat says, well, I have a friend named Jack. He's got a guitar. He said, well, he's in. So Jack Herbert. So this is how it all kind of started out. But anyhow, there's kind of the beginning in a nutshell. There was a band up there, and the place was known to a couple of friends. I don't know who, maybe Kerry or Mike, I'm not sure, but a couple of guys knew of this place called the Chicken Shack in Seneca. They said there's a really good band up there, and we went up and heard the house band that was there. And we were just blown away by the place. It was such a great sounding, acoustically place, and it had such a great crowd and everything, a lot of energy. And we met the owner of the place, who was just a prince of a guy, Charlie Stansel, and we started talking to him and asked if there's a possibility we could play sometimes. Well, that turned into the other band was just on their way out. They were moving on to bigger and better things. So we eventually worked right into that, and we were just absolutely we thought we'd died and gone to heaven, really. That's such a great place.
And it wasn't far from home.
Wasn't far from home, and like I say, had a huge crowd from our hometown, plus the whole area. So it was a pretty fabulous gig for us.
From there, where did you go? Once the band went their separate ways, what did you do?
I left, and actually I left the band a little early, and wound up going to Anderson College shortly after that, and I lost my deferment, and I was one of the last few to get drafted. So I went to Korea, which was better. My first orders were for Saigon, and about 2 hours later they called me to the headquarters and said, Larry Hudson, we got your orders here. And I was real puzzled, because I thought it was such an odd thing to get 2 sets of orders. And I looked and saw it was for Seoul, Korea. Came back and on GI Bill, went to the University of Georgia, and then studied art, and that's kind of what I did for my whole career. Yeah.
When you were in Korea, did you take your guitar? Did you get to play over there?
I did. There was a whole great bunch of musicians over there, and we played in the USO some, and but nothing out and about, just for fun.
Talk briefly about the Saturday when you all got together for the first time in a long time. What was that like for you?
Oh wow, that was like surreal. I mean, it's just one of the greatest things. Just think about it all your life, and think, wow, it'd be great if we could, but it finally, the situation, all the stars fell in place or whatever, and so it worked out really. But it was great to be back with all my brothers, and all, like Mike said, from all the other band members too that play with us and all. So it was amazing.
I don't know someday